Hello, here's our really quick and easy way to make our corsage with our corsage kit. So what you'll have in your corsage kit is the wristlet base itself. You should have two 2-inch flowers and 2 minis. Now you can do different combinations with this and be creative if you want to, but we're going to give you the quick, easy, simple way to make a corsage with what we've got here. We also have some filler, which is our star flowers here in this kit, and then we have some eucalyptus leaves, and this is going to be the base where we glue everything on. So what we're going to do first is take our leaves and we're just going to nip that little plastic stem off because we don't need the stems for this. Now the reason why we use leaves on the bottom, not just for the look, but also because the hot glue will stick to the leaves, where on the metal directly it doesn't stick so well, like it could peel off a little bit. So what we want to do is make sure that we have at least a base where we're going to stick our flowers onto it. Now also we just want to be careful because this plate is metal. When our hot glue touches the plate, the whole plate actually will heat up. So even if I'm holding over here, if I put glue on this side, I'll feel the warmth all the way on the other side. So just be careful when you're holding it. It's kind of best to hold it from the fabric stretchy part of the corsage band. So what I have here again is my little plate, and that's what we're going to glue our leaves directly to, and then our flowers will have a nice base to glue onto those. So I'm going to just hold it first where it's faced like horizontally, the little stripy things. As you can see, if I'm holding it to myself and I'm looking at it, that's like as if you're going to put it onto somebody. So this is how I hold it when I start my greenery. So I am going to put some glue. Now we don't want to be skimpy with our glue because we want it to hold. It's going to be on someone's hand, and we definitely don't want it to just flop off. So we definitely want to have enough glue. So I'm going to first glue my first leaf on, and I'm doing it diagonal out and facing me. So I'm going to hold it, I'm going to flip it and show you what it looks like when you're holding it. So if you're going to be holding it, you're going to go out diagonal to the side. So see, there's like 4 clippy things. We're going to cover one of them that way. Okay. Then the next leaf that we're going to do, we're going to put some glue on that leaf and a little on the metal. We're going to make like a V and put our other leaf going diagonal on the other side to cover the other metal band strip. So you see, I'll have 2 at the bottom. I've got 2 at the top and kind of like a V, like a little heart almost. And then we have 1 more leaf. I'm going to put glue again. I'm going to put it on the metal and on the leaf because we want it all to stick really well. And I'm going to cover 1 more of those metal pieces. Again, I do it at a diagonal. So we should have everything covered but 1 little metal piece there. Okay, now if you have extra greenery at home and you're wanting to cover the whole thing with a lot of greenery, do your base first, obviously, because you can't really add bigger leaves into your corsage after you've already put the flowers on. So if you're wanting it to be fully, covered with leaves, you can go ahead and do that now. But for the look that we're going for, nice and simple, these 3 leaves are perfect, and we'll show you what we're going to do with that one in just a minute. So we're going to hold it back the way we started, and we're going to go kind of in reverse again, this time covering it with flowers. So we have our leaf diagonal. Now we're going to put a flower on that first leaf that we tried. So I'm going to put my glue down. I'm going to take my 2-inch flower, and I'm going to do just a little bit of an angle, not perfectly straight up and down, but not all the way on its side. So we're just going to tilt it just a little bit on that first leaf. It's going to go in the same direction that we put our first leaf down. Now, I do want to let this dry before I add any more flowers, because once I start pushing my other flowers against this, what will happen is that it'll move it all around and it won't dry right, and they'll be a little crooked. All right, then I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. I'm going to let this dry, and where my next metal piece is, I'm going to put my next big flower. So again, I'm going to let this dry, but I'm going to show you where I'm going to put this first. So as you can see, I've got my little flower tilted. I'm going to take this one a little tilted as well and butt it right up against the other flower. So let me put some glue on it. I'm going to actually put the glue directly on this flower so I can maneuver a little bit easier. And I'm going to just butt it up against the other big flower. Okay, and I'm going to hold it and I'm going to press it. So those two will be next to each other. Again, they're a little bit on their side, not completely. You don't want to see the side of a flower, but you want it to be a little tilted. Otherwise, you'll have some weird gaps. Plus, it'll look a little flat if you don't do that. So as you can see, I've got my two flowers butted up, and I've got my leaves here ready to add more flowers to that. Again, I wanted to let it dry. Okay, so now that I've got my two flowers, I'm going to add my two little babies in there as well. So my first baby, actually I'm going to just, if you have flowers that have a little bit long of a stem part of the flower still continuing, the little butt of it, you can take a little snip off of that because you don't need extra for that. Let me just put some more glue, and I'm just using regular glue, hot glue. I do use a high temperature glue gun, and I'm going to put the flower, the glue right at the bottom of the flower, okay, right where I just snipped off, and I'm going to tuck that in to the gap. Okay, so we had our two that made a V, and I'm going to put this baby in there, and I'm going to tuck that in nice and tight. And then my next little flower is going to kind of squeeze its way in between next to it, as you can see. So again, I don't want to see bottoms of stems, so if I put them too much on the side and I see the bottom, I'm just going to want to rotate it so that I see the tops and the top sides of the flower. So as you can see, I've got, and don't worry about this gap right now, we have the fillers for that reason. But we've got our two bigger ones, and we've got our little baby ones tucked in there. And now we're just going to fill our gaps with our filler. Now let me just put it on so you can see. So you can see I've got my two little baby roses lined up there, my two bigger ones on that side. I like to make them a little bit diagonal. Let me hold it up this way for you guys. A little bit diagonal, so it gives it some interest in shape. It's not just a circle. It should have a little bit of an interest. And now I'm going to go in and fill my gaps. So I'm just going to take little bundles and just break them. Oh, I lost one. Okay. I'm going to put glue on the bottom of my bundle. Now I don't want them all to be the same length. I want it to be like staggered up so that it really covers up my spots here. And I'm going to slide them in to wherever there is a gap. I'm going to tuck that in nice. Okay, that's one. So I have another gap here and a gap there. So again, I'm just going to fill whatever gaps. Now, according to how you kind of angled things and how tight you were able to push them in, you may not have as many gaps each time you do this. So, you know, again, you might not need all of your gaps filled that like I have, or you may have even more gaps. But either way, there's enough fillers to go into all of those gaps. So you can put some in the middle too if you have a gap. Let me just keep going here. So I like to go on all sides. Oh, getting sticky all over here. All right. So if you want to cover this gap even here, you can. I don't think I need it. It's not like a gap where you can see something that you don't really want to see. So I'm just going to trim back some of these little ends that are sticking out here that don't have a bud on them. And then I'm going to put a little bit in the center. And again, we have enough filler in your package that you're going to be able to fill in whatever gaps that you have. Obviously, when you're making it, the less gaps that you have, the better, because you can still kind of squeeze in filler, but you won't be forced to use filler where you don't necessarily need it. But I'm going to put some in the middle there, and I think that covers pretty much everything. Again, these flowers are all dyeable. You can also order our dyed flowers and even swap them out if you bought the kit. and you want to use some raw and some color, you can always use other things. But this kit itself, it has 2 2-inches, the 2 minis, the fillers, and of course the leaves that cover your plate. So again, the bottom look here, you've got your leaves covering, and the leaves really absorb that hot glue, so it makes the flowers stick. Again, don't be skimpy with your glue. You want to be able to, you know, dance, and if you hug people and you knock people or something like that, that they're not going to fall off. So my glue was really good. I put a bunch on and we're not going anywhere. And that's how you make a simple wrist corsage.